Good morning. Welcome to Unity Longmont Spiritual Center on this beautiful morning, August 2nd. And we are blessed to have Michael King as our speaker today. And he will be sharing his sacred poetry. And we have Clint Brown providing music. So we will begin this morning's service with music.
So this is a medley of two gathering songs. So here we are gathering across distance, but we are gathering. Gather round, good people, gather round. Come and take off your shoes and settle down. Head in the clouds, on the ground, gather round, good people, gather round, kind friends all gather round. There's something I would say, what brings us together here has blessed us all today. Love has made a circle that holds us all inside, where strangers are as family and loneliness can't hide. Give yourself to love, if love is what you're after. Open up your hearts to the tears and laughter. Give yourself to love, give yourself to love. I've walked these mountains in the rain, I've learned to love the wind. I've been up before the sunrise to watch the day begin. Always knew I'd find you, though I never did know how. Like sunshine on a cloudy day, you stand before me now. Yourself to love, if love is what you're after. Open up your hearts to the tears and laughter. Give yourself to love, give yourself to love, give yourself to love, give yourself to love. Thank you.
Unmute, Eva.
Thank you. Let us take a breath together and we will go into prayer with a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh. When you understand, you love. And when you love, you naturally act in a way that can relieve the suffering of people. When you understand, you love, and when you love, you can naturally relieve the suffering of people. And so, beloved presence, we find our own suffering relieved through your love and through the love shared by community and even strangers who affect the world in such a gentle and wonderful way. And we are reminded that we are also called to love when it's easy, to love when it's more difficult. And so we open our hearts to all the love, all the divine presence. And so it is. And we will have another piece of music from Clint.
Unmute. So this is another Kate Wolf song. It's about, seems like it ties in with some theme that at least was in Mike's graphic he put up on the screen of this huge chasm and a bridge going across, a suspension bridge. It brings to mind for me that we're physically distanced, working across a great divide, but now finding ways to be together, ways to bridge that divide. I've been walking in my sleep, counting troubles instead of counting sheep. Where the years went, I can't say. I just turned around, they were gone away. I've been sifting through the layers, faded books, dusty papers, tell a story I need to know, one that happened so long ago. It's gone away in yesterday. Now I find myself on the mountainside, where the rivers change direction across the great divide. Now I heard owl calling softly as the night was falling, with a question I replied, but he's gone across the borderline. He's gone away in yesterday. Now I find myself on the mountainside, where the rivers change direction across the great divide. The finest hour I have seen is the one that comes between the edge of night and the break of day, where the darkness rolls away. It's gone away yesterday. Now I find myself on the mountainside, where the rivers change direction across the great divide. Where the rivers change direction across the great divide.
Such perfection. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mike King.
Hi. Well, I'm going to put up this picture, and some of the people like Stephen and Ren, I think, have seen this and know the story of it. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay. So this was this painting was done by a woman at our church, Columbine Unity, who heard a song from our music director, Janice, which prompted her to paint this picture. And one day I just happened to see a little blurb of it in our church, and something happened that really was the first time ever I had experienced it, which was just a, I can't even really put words to it, just something that I knew this painting somehow said something to me in a way that words can't describe. And within about 3 weeks, a poem came. It was one of my first poems I wrote. So here it goes. I bridge the gap of solitude by means I now will tell. A painting's worth 1,000 words for breaking illusion's spell. I took the first step from a longing just to be. What then appeared was a bridge made from my heart and the holy tree. Two cold cliffs of stone appearing so forlorn, so I plunged into the abyss where love of love is born. And in that timeless moment where the mind cannot be, the painter's gift is given, a taste of eternity. There is no bridge from here to there. I've traveled far to see. No step was ever taken, for I was always free. And in that freedom I now do see that even the holy bridge is made only of me. No, not the me that plunged from cliffs so forlorn, longing for love inside to be born. This me was never born. I am brushed alive with artful flow, having no name or form, yet all know me as love's warm glow. Trust only in love's knowing, not the world's misty embrace, as we greet our true self, God's holy face. And I'll just say a few words and we can do a silent meditation for a few moments, a few minutes. Close your eyes if you want to. Allow everything that is not essential to you to simply be. In other words, anything that has a temporary name and form. Thoughts, thinking, thoughts come and go. They are not essential to us. And so thoughts are left as they are. Feelings of sadness, joy, happiness, anger, they come and go. So if it comes and goes, it is not essential to us. And we can leave them be exactly as we find them. We are not interested in changing our experience. Our experience is perfect as it is, here, now. And the sensations of the body, those too come and go. Perceptions of the world, what we see, smell, taste, hear, touch, all of these ways of knowing the world come and go. But what is it that never comes and goes? There is one thing, unlike any other thing, and really not even a thing. Our essential being, God's infinite being. We are all shared in that infinite being. We are all unique expressions of that oneness. We don't have to do anything to be what we are. We are gifted this blessing. So let us rest. Let us abide in what we truly are for a few moments. In silence. call this poem God's Fiddle. Nature's trance, this dance I do. Musical romance, tango for two. Wind and tree, a symphony. Aspens quake, our hearts awake. Leaves blowing, sound of knowing. Birds in flight, joy and delight. Lightning and thunder, awe and wonder. Wooded branch, God's bow. Into silence I come and go. So when everyone's ready, go ahead and open your eyes or keep them shut, whatever feels good, whatever you'd like to do. So I might be reading a lot of poetry today. I might not. It just depends how things proceed. But I'll just start talking for a little bit, intersperse some poetry, and then leave time for questions. You know, for many years, I was very frustrated with organized religion. I couldn't find a home in organized religion. I saw the power structure inherent, the need for control, the hierarchy of where, you know, either the rabbis or the bishops had the answers, and we were all just left to believe in God or Jesus or Buddha or whatever we want to call our higher being. And for some reason, because of the life I led, I had this intense desire to know reality. From the mind's point of view, I felt that there is an inherent reality to life. And so there's the exoteric organized religion, but inside of that, there's the esoteric, the spiritual underpinnings of all major Abrahamic religions and Hinduism. And it's based on a direct experience of God in our own lives. Because until we have a direct experience of God that we know, it is really just belief. And not that belief is bad in belief, but beliefs can be warped. When beliefs become something that is thought of as true, we can have wars because my belief might be different than yours. And I want you to believe the way I believe. But if we focus on direct knowledge of God, then even though there are 15, 16 people on the screen, there is just a oneness. There truly is no difference. What I am and what you are is one. And because this is Longmont unity, right? I thought, well, let me go to what Jesus said. So I picked up the Gospel of Thomas. I don't know if can you guys still see me? And so let me read something from the Gospel of Thomas. Jesus said, if they say to you, where have you come from? Say to them, we have come from the light, from the place where the light came into being by itself, established itself, and appeared in their image. If they say to you, is it you? Say, we are its children, and we are the chosen of the living Father. If they ask you, what is the evidence of your Father in you? Say to them, it is motion and rest. And that really follows beautifully the inward and outward paths that all major religions have. The path of self-inquiry to find what we call self-realization, and the outward path of the scientist or the artist, where we find God as everything. We are a rest and emotion. At rest, we call this known feeling peace. Not a peace that comes and goes based on circumstance, but a peace that surpasses all understanding. A peace that is inherent to us, that is us. Outwardly, when we look at nature in this way, we are everything. We see God in everything, in the plants and animals and others. When I am able to see God in another person, what do we call that commonly? There's a common name for that. When otherness disappears between two people, we call it love. When we're taking a walk in nature and we are astounded and we have this experience of awe, it's so natural, it's so available, and we name it beauty. But the inward experience of beauty and love and peace, although they have a different flavor, is the same experience. It's just experiencing what we are as we are, inherent to us. It's just that simple. So I'll read about 2 years ago now, I had, I've talked to you guys before about when I went to the hospital, and I had 2 poems I wrote that seemed to just completely break my heart open. And I'll read one of those. And it's called The Road Warrior. Driving life's highway, it was the burnt out letters that caught my eye. The lonely, isolated motel, harsh neon glare of the sign proclaiming vacancies. One, the void spiritual masters described as this empty container, empty yet full of love's infinite potential. And some here, I'm sure, have tasted this sweetness. But for me, there was another emptiness, one that was so full of guilt, fear, and shame that the very feeling of emptiness was transformed to its opposite, a fullness, a rage at this world's injustice. In a sigh of exhaustion, we cry out, "Why, God? Why is evil allowed?" Children suffering real outrage at the callous hands of fate. Where were you? Would not love intercede with mighty beneficence then and there when karma conspired? The mind having no answer leaves me with a sense of something missing, an empty hole, a feeling of being just a little off, just not right. For me, the critic bears its ugly fangs, wrestling my body in a lockjaw of contraction, and I jump on board habit's well-known ride, a loop-de-loop of mental masturbation, and we ride this ride over and over and over, just like our favorite at Disneyland. We can't seem to get enough. The mind's tirade like a machine gun, spewing bullets of wrongs I've committed in an endless, continuous stream. So used to hearing judgment's voice in my head, its absence now scares me. Who am I, if I am not what I've thought and felt myself to be all these years? A darkness descended, and my mind receded at the endless onslaught. Yet from the ash heap, there arose a phoenix miraculous, something that was as substantially different than anything I've ever felt or known, unlike any other experience a person can have, yet the one experience that we all hold in common, our shared infinite beingness. The mind tries, but it cannot get a grip on what or where it is. Yet there is a light and a delight that will never be described by mere words. Love embraces the boy and carries him in loving arms to the joy he once knew and really never forgot. It was always there, shining brightly in the heart of his longing and yearning. What an amazing journey, this raw and wonderful life. Hell and heaven, all inside us. So that was a poem that came from two places, really: suffering and something that holds the suffering, something that's greater than the suffering, deeper than the suffering, something that we really can't speak of, but we are. I'll read the last, this is the last poem, hopefully not the last poem I'm ever going to write, but it's the last one I did write. And I want to say about this one that it's the same thing that I wrote this. It's called "And If I Could Choose." And I want to give thanks to Stephen Hirschberger, who is my wonderful editor, and he really pushes me to be better. And sometimes I just want to wring his neck because he says, really go back to the drawing board. And so thank you, Stephen, for making me a better writer. And my friend Ren, who also, as an English professor, I look up to and has written many, many books. This one is called "And If I Could Choose." And if I could choose, I would live deep in the heart of Magnolia's forest, where each inhalation brings breath's blossoming perfume, that flowering sweet fragrance, gently opening senses, offering me an invitation to an easy, natural fulfillment of perception's highest purpose. And if I could choose, each day and its ending would be a shining tribute to that first special sunset where I was both lost and found. A frozen moment where time itself was put on notice. My breath, borrowed by the sun, forms a sky rich with clouds, colored in orange, wisps, woven strips of pink, vermilion, and violet, all rising to meet majestic purple billowing mountains in a playful coalescence with the sun, marking joyfully the day's turning. All this for us to frame a picture sacred, solid to the eyes, ephemeral to that which lies beneath. And if I could choose, no longer would I be a spectator to nature's splendor, for every sunrise would be a first, beauty on fire, alive. And I would hear a special what you and the world have to say by sweet song or sounds discordant, heard now as only a lover of music hears. And I would board melodies offer of transportation, riding the sound waves of notes played, scaling the up and down of life, both treble and bass, while my heart, beating in step with rhyme and time, hears the sometimes broken open song this world sings. And if I could choose, I would find a teacher cross-legged on a mountaintop of hard-won wisdom, offering up to her the apple of self-righteousness that has plagued this world and me, so that finally I might rest in the simple joy of not knowing. And if I could choose, all words written would carry power and magic, created not by the words or the wordsmith, rather because the power is inherent to us, in us, as us. There would never be a fumbling of finding the right phrase, for each would offer us a lifeline sufficient unto itself, like the word clarity, known for what it is, conveying itself without need or explanation. And if I could choose, I would offer up words that inspire just as they arise from inspiration, and words of healing would choose themselves too, bubbling up from waters both pure and true. Words serving only as handmaidens of connection, bonding each of us to the other and all to the world for no reason other than we already are all connected. And when choice finds itself merged in the freedom from which it springs, then will I live as the center of this raucous, swirling whirlwind of universes, both inner and outer. So let's just dance, sing, and love. Mind, willing, open. Limbs untethered from gravity's pull and heaven's desire. Dawn to dusk, ever-changing, unafraid, free. So, feels like that's a good place to stop, maybe take a break, ask if there's any questions, or what do you think, Deva?
I think that you and your poetry are blessings. Thanks for sharing them. We can go ahead and open up for comments or questions while we have your wisdom in a chair in front of us. So if you have something you'd like to say or ask, just unmute yourself, please.
Hi, Michael. This is Bobbie.
Hi, Bobbie.
Hey, I love your poetry. Where can I find it? Are you published?
Not really. You can just find it on my computer.
Would you be willing to share that the one in particular that spoke to me was the next to the last one? Would you be willing to, I don't know, put that out so that we could see it somewhere, email or something?
I could put it in the newsletter if you're willing, Mike. We've done that once before with another poem.
Sure. Yeah, that was the heartbreak one. Is that?
Yes. Yeah.
The vacancies. Yes.
Yes, that
sure.
one. Yes.
Absolutely.
I want to say too that I love your poetry and the words. When you read it, that's when it really, really just melts me because of your rhythm, your voice, your tone, the personal and universal sense of it. So I really would love to see you record your poems and make them available on YouTube or something. Beautiful.
I agree. Your reading was wonderful.
You know,
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
No, you go.
No, you go. No, you're responding. I'll come in later.
I was just gonna, just comment that one of the coolest things when I was a prayer chaplain at Columbine Unity, I had the blessing of meeting, I even forget her name, but she's head of Silent Unity. And I took her aside and I asked her, from what your books say, it seems like, the Christian church, as far as unity goes, really the underpinning is non-dualism. The fact that there is just one. You know, Jesus said, I and the Father are one. And she said, yeah, it's a really well-known, it's a secret, but it's coming out. So,
God's
you
gonna
know,
come out.
it's going to come out. Ren,
Hey,
what
Mike,
did you want to
what
say?
did- Mike, it was
Well,
Linda Martella Whitsett.
Thank you, Beth. Yes.
I like your distinction between the exoteric religion, I call conventional religion, and the esoteric, the interpersonal journey. And W.T. Stace, an English writer, writes about mysticism, and he says, yes, he does say this. He says, mysticism is first-person religion. And I think the exoteric conventional religion is third-person religion. And an interesting gloss on that is something that Thomas Paine, of all people, says in his book, of all books, The Age of Reason. And he says, revelation is only revelation to the person who received it, and mere hearsay to everyone else. And I think in that regard, conventional religion tends to be religion by rumor. And I'm saying this as a very active member of St. John's Episcopal Church, which I love. It's, you know, next to the Catholic Church, it's about as conventional as you can get. You know, we have the Book of Common Prayer, beautiful Elizabethan English and all that. But, you know, it don't mean a thing if you ain't got that swing, right? I mean, that's really, a lot of popular culture, by the way, gives you insight into lots of things. And you have to go there. You have to cross the bridge. And the Catholics have an interesting word for it. They call it a charism. They say faith is a charism, which means a fancy Greek word meaning it's a gift from God. It's nothing you can do. So I want faith. You know, I want belief. I want to go there. I lived in Hawaii for 17 years, and I remember before I went there, I was teaching at Queens College at City University of New York, and there was a fellow professor in the English department, and I was going to go to the University of Hawaii and teach English, and he had lived in Hawaii for a number of years. So I asked him, I say, so tell me about Hawaii. And he said, well, it's like pineapple. I can explain pineapple. I can show you a picture of pineapple. I can even give you a scent of pineapple. But you won't know what pineapple is till you eat it. You have to go there. You have to find out for yourself. And so I think poetry is a kind of bridge, because it's not just from the left brain, it's not just analytical. It can give us that wisdom bridge into someplace else. And so I really want to thank you for helping. It's interesting for me because I was just at the St. John's Zoom meeting, and then we had our coffee hour virtually in breakout rooms. And it's wonderful. And we had a guest, our priest, our rector is on vacation, Pastor Susan. So we had a visiting supply priest who did the homily. And he preached on where Jesus does the miracle of feeding the 5,000 from the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and everyone is fed, and there's 12 barrels of leftovers from nothing. And, you know, he says to his disciples, you got to feed the people. Go feed the people. And I think how much Christianity, which is basically, Jesus basically is socialist. I mean, that's the reality. And I'll just end with this, how our brothers and sisters of more evangelical fundamentalist versions of Christianity turn that into a kind of get your own, where if God blesses you, go get your own, forget about the other guys. It's all about you. The point is, when you cross that bridge, you know, as you said, it's all about everybody and everything. And God don't make no junk, and all God's children got wings. And amen and hallelujah 3 times. I'm done.
Thanks, Ren. You know, I just want to say that from a scientific standpoint, that even if we take all of spirituality out, there was a part of me, and I think a part of probably all of us, that comes from the materialistic point of view, the scientific part of us. There really is something called reality. And my teacher said there's 3 things to 3 tests of reality. Number 1, reality cannot change. Reality can never disappear, and reality could not be known by anything other than itself. And it took me about a year of really going through those things step by step and seeing in my own personal experience, was there anything that I could call real? And interestingly enough, the only thing that is real, that never changes, never disappears, cannot be taken from us, and is known by itself, is God's infinite being. The simple awareness that I am that I am. Tat twamasi, that thou art. And it's just science and spirituality. The mind, the Trinity, the mind, the body, and the world, all one. And I'll turn it over to you, Deva.
Wow, what a blessing to have all of you here. I feel like we had a couple of guest speakers. This has been wonderful. So thank you again, Mike. Thank you for your heart, your creativity, and your ability to describe that sense of unity. And thank you, Clint, for your beautiful music.